What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today, showcase time with a brand newly released Sugofest exclusive, Charlotte Pudding. I know a lot of people were really excited for this character. I'm going to go through my thoughts and opinions about this character and just what I think in general once we get into this video, but in this preemptive just intro video, we're going to talk about what she actually does, just to give you guys a quick rundown of what she does once again. So she's an int cerebral shooter. Her stats are a little underwhelming in my personal opinion. I don't have her limit break expanded. I don't have enough materials for that. And even if I did, I'm not even too sure if I would even limit break expand this character, because she gets no cooldown, no upgraded captain effect. The only thing she gets is additional stats, so I don't really know if it's entirely worth it for this unit. But as for her captain effect, it's a 4.25 times attack boost to int if they have a matching slot, and it's 3.5 times otherwise, which is a pretty good attack boost. Boost their health by 1.25. Psi slots are matching for your int characters, and then increases the chances of those Psi orbs appearing. And I do have to say that the chances of those Psi orbs appearing are very common. Like, they will appear a lot on your team, so I like that. Matching slots will be relatively easy to come by when you're utilizing Charlotte Pudding, especially if you have other crewmate effects that can give you more beneficial slots on top of that, which is very, very good. As for Charlotte Pudding's special ability, which is the most important thing about this character in my opinion, it's so unique, right? So when you launch it, it will go ahead and change her own slot into matching, but it also changes your crew's empty, block, and badly matching slots into matching as well. Also gives you 1 turn of special cooldown, which is very good, and then also allows you to select a buff that's already applicable on your team, and then Pudding actually stores that buff on herself. And then what happens is after you store a buff that was available on your team, her special becomes maxed once again, so that once you launch it again, whatever stored buff that Pudding stored is going to be reapplied on your team for 1 turn. And this can be anything from an attack boost, or boost color affinity, tap timing, bonus damage, conditional boost. Just about any single buff in the game she can store and use later. Now the thing is when she stores the buff, when you launch the special for the first time, it doesn't remove the buff, it just copies it onto the unit, which is fantastic. So you can get multiple different buffs on multiple different turns. It's very, very, very good. Now the thing is I do like this effect. I think it is very, very good, but I have my problems with it, which we'll go through later on in this video. As for her crewmate effects, when she's used as a crewmate, she's awesome, because she basically always resists special bind, most of the time, 10 turns is a lot, and then also reduces 10 turns of special reverse. They really want you to make sure that Pudding special is ready to go, which I like. She also has a very good support effect, which only supports Sanji, but basically anytime Sanji is inflicted with special reverse or special bind, she removes 2 turns of that, which is good, right? So very, very good. So I think that this unit overall is pretty good, but again, as I said, I'll go through my problems with her in just a little bit. So now let's go ahead and get into the showcase video for Charlotte Pudding. Alright, so jumping into this showcase video, the first clip you guys are seeing is against the Garp Challenge versus Doflamingo. This is the 10-star difficulty where they try and get you to run one of each color and one of each class. This is obviously not the 12-star difficulty, but with this specific team, we've got Rayleigh for the Despair removal, we've got Nami for the Paralysis removal. The Raid Carrot is a phenomenal character for this event, because not only does it give you an attack boost, but she has the crewmate ability to consistently reduce her cooldown, and it removes blue shield defense, which is really good against the stage here with Rebecca. And also when you use the special against the treble stage, when we get to it, it actually clears the mobs at the back as well. Like, this carrot is exceptional. So if you are struggling with the int specific one of the Garp challenge, make sure to use Raid Carrot if you are, struggling in certain areas there. And then we're also running the Halloween Sabo, because I kind of realized that his special ability gives a 3-turn orb boost to all of these characters here, because I think it's for shooters, strikers, and fighter characters, I believe, which all of these characters on this team are. So it works perfectly. So the 3-turn orb boost is pretty good. Now, speaking about Pudding herself, okay, I think a lot of people think that, this is a hot take from me, so a lot of people might not agree with what I'm saying here, but I think that Pudding is one of the most overrated Sugofest exclusives in the game. I've said it, I just personally don't like this character. Comparing this character to some of the other legends that we know are coming and the ones that have just arrived, I don't understand why this character was released now. Personally speaking, I think this character should have come out last year for Global, and then, however long ago it would have been for Japan. This character, in my opinion, should have come out way, 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 way earlier ago compared to when she released now. I think if she released you know, last year, around the time of Sanji and Judge, around that era, maybe even a bit before it, I think this character might have seen a little bit more play. Now, people on Japan, or people will try and defend this character by saying, oh, you know, you can, you know, cheese content with her, you can find uses for her, but in my personal opinion, from just trying to build different teams with Legend Pudding, I think that Legend Pudding is just an unnecessary character in a lot of content. I can definitely see places where she will be amazing though. If there is any content where the final boss gives you a full board of empty slots, or if they give you a full board of block slots, or they give you a full board of badly matching slots, as well as, you know, depending on the situation, you know, you could potentially use like Sabo and Coalla and other characters in those situations, but Pudding could definitely be used in those specific circumstances. Personally speaking though, me just trying to play through random pieces of content with this character, I didn't have a lot of fun with it. I can say that straight off the bat. Did not have a lot of fun using this character. And one of the things I didn't like is that it was Mono Int. Now, Mono Int is still pretty good. There are good characters for Mono Int. But in my opinion, I just don't like mono-color captains until we get super typing. Because super type captains have all of their regular effects, and then they have the super type special effect, which gives them just an additional special effect, basically, for their team. And now the thing is Pudding being a mono captain, she doesn't really provide that much to your team. What she does with her special, we already know, I talked about it at the start of this video, where she is basically used to store buffs that you've used previously so that you can apply them later on. That is a pretty unique type of special, and I do respect the uniqueness and the creativity of this character. I do think it's nice. Saying that though, in my opinion, she just is completely irrelevant and just unnecessary in a lot of content. When I was trying to build certain teams against certain pieces of content with Pudding, like, I was just going through the thought process of, like, I don't need Pudding on this team. Pudding, like, I feel like people trying to defend Pudding are people that are just trying to shoehorn this character into just random teams and trying to get it to work. Whereas there are so many other more optimal teams that just don't use Pudding in the first place. I just don't think this character is as good as what people say she is. I think she is okay, but I do not think that she is like the tier 0 godly special that a lot of people were originally making her out to be. Just from personal usage over the past, 24 hours since I've pulled this character, I'm not the greatest fan of this unit. Now, look, I might come to like this character later on down the road. Maybe there's going to be a lot of content within the next few weeks where Pudding is going to be really, really good. But I don't see that being the case. She is going to be a 1.5 point booster, or at least we expect her to be a 1.5 point booster in the upcoming treasure map. So at least I'm going to be using her there for sure. But outside of that, I personally do not know where I'm going to be using this character. I'm actually dumbfounded because I was really expecting this character to be a lot better than what she was. But I just don't really enjoy using this character all that much. I just don't. Pudding has some pretty interesting uses though. I did talk about it briefly in my OPTC how-to video with Legend Pudding. There are really cool applications of this character, and the final clip in this particular video is utilizing just one of those characters in which you can kind of just abuse her special in really awesome circumstances. So, specifically like V2 Katakuri is one of the ones that a lot of people will bring up, and that's the one that I have at the end of this video. But there are a lot of other characters that you could use, such as like Luffy Law, for example, getting a humongous orb boost for all characters, and you can copy that special and have it be active for many turns, which is really good, right? You could also use like TM Big Mom, who has a 3x orb boost. The Kizuna units, Kizuna, Marco, and Ace, and Kizuna, Zoro, and Sanji being 2.75 times attack boosters. You can copy that for multiple stages. There are many circumstances of characters, like any massive chain lock as well, like V2 Big Mom with her 3.5 times chain lock. You can copy that with this character, and is also an int unit, so that works really well with Pudding actually. So that's another reasonably good example. This clip here you're seeing is against Raid Ace, and this team actually did relatively well here, but you can see I'm using a non-boosted unit on this team just because this Nami is really good for this fight, as she gets the orb boost and she removes the burn that gets inflicted on the final boss fight of Raid Ace, which is definitely needed. You do need to remove that burn or find some sort of way to negate that burn, otherwise you will just die because Ace does revive, and your health is going to be relatively low against Raid Ace. One of the cool things about Pudding though is that she is a cerebral unit, which means that any of the really good cerebral characters in the game, you can kind of try and find utilization with those units and get really nice synergy here. Like, for example, in this team, I have the Legend Robin for an attack boost, which I also copied in the previous room. We have the fact with Robin as well, she actually just blocks all that damage, which Whitebeard does death damage, so she's an exceptional unit here. We also have this limited rare recruit Caesar, which gives us the chain boost over multiple different turns, which is very good. He's also cerebral. We also have the Nami on the team, which is also cerebral. She's not an int character, but her special is really nice for this fight. Sabo and Coalla was another example that I talked about briefly in my how-to video, and also we just talked about just a minute ago as well. Sabo and Coalla is great because they also have really good orb manipulation. They remove the negative orb enabling effect, so that is kind of nice if you are experiencing that. There was another character in this batch, the Toadskii, that came out with the Nami, Robin, and the Pudding. The Toadskii in that batch actually gives you beneficial orb enable for multiple turns, so that's another type of special that you could use to get around those really bad debuffs. And the thing is like, you can actually use her special prior to, because it's a 3-turn beneficial orb enable, and then because it's an attack boost, you can copy that with Pudding and then use it later on in the fight, which is actually like a really cool circumstance in which you could kind of abuse effects to get around and ignore certain debuffs that would be inflicted to your team. So there you go, Raid Ace was fully completed with a Legend Pudding team, and then straight after that, Ambush Shanks was actually available, so decided to try and take this team into Ambush Shanks, and of course, no problem whatsoever, because we have access to the Rayleigh, the Nami 6+, like, it's not going to be a problem with the Legend Pudding team at all. Ambush Shanks is pretty much a joke nowadays anyway. He's still a relatively good unit, to be honest as well, but, you know, Pudding with no problems whatsoever against the Ambush Shanks. And then the final clip in this video that you guys are going to see is going to be against the Whitebeard Forest. I just wanted to go into any training forest just to test out, just to show you guys how this specific effect gets activated. So again, as I mentioned really earlier on in this video, it's going to be applying a V2 Katakuri special. So we're going to be using the Katakuri special, and then we're going to be copying it twice over with 2 puddings, so that we can get 3 different turns with Katakuri's tap timing bonus damage. Now, unfortunately, the thing about it is that when you launch the Katakuri special, he does a lot of damage, so you really have to be careful as to how much damage you do with Katakuri, because if you do too much damage and you wave clear the stage with his special, you can't copy it. So that is actually a pretty big problem. So I guess in Colosseums, you'd probably get a little bit more usage out of V2 Katakuri plus pudding shenanigans, but in the training forest, it was a little bit more difficult that I did try and test it on, because the Marco in which I used the special on doesn't really have that much HP, so I really had to be very careful as to how much damage we were taking. So the Katakuri special that you guys will be seeing at the end of this video is quite minimal compared to what you would see normally when you try and stall and take a lot of damage with his special, but it's still a really nice way just to show you guys how it works and how you can apply it for different characters moving forward. But that is going to wrap up this video today, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
Oi, Sanji! お願いがあるの。